Should you be visiting Bangkok? In case you're planning to, cancel that thought right away. I will tell you why. Bangkok and other Thai cities could be filled with COVID-infected Chinese visitors. Why? Thailand has succumbed to Beijing's bullying. Remember earlier, like other sensible nations, it had imposed basic tests for all those travelling from Chinese cities, where COVID had been rampant. But within days, after pressure from Beijing, Thailand has removed all those checks. Now, it will let Chinese passengers pass through immigration without any RT-PCR test. They will be able to check into hotels without declaring whether or not they are infected with the Wuhan virus. Infected Chinese travellers will be able to share a tour bus with you, be on the same boat as you. They will be able to sit next to you at the bar at a shop, even inside the same swimming pool as you. And guess what? You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know whether or not the person next to you is infected and is infecting you. Because Thailand is too scared to offend the mighty Chinese government, which has now abandoned all concerns about public health and safety. Thailand is expecting some 10 million Chinese tourists in the coming months. Forget testing. Chinese tourists are not even required to show any proof of vaccination to enter Thailand. And do you know why? Because showing a proof of vaccination would be cumbersome and inconvenient. That's the line of reasoning that Thai authorities want you to believe. The question is, do you buy into it? No one in their right mind will. We get that Thailand is desperate for tourism revenue. But surely it can be a little more in touch with the on-ground reality. Because let's face it, China is brimming with COVID cases. 70%, I repeat, 70% of Shanghai residents are sick. 90% of Hainan residents are sick. You have daily flights from these cities coming to Thailand. Simple math says that more than 50% of passengers are likely to be sick. So will you just stamp their passports and let them into your cities? I asked the Thai leadership tonight, have you no concern for your own citizens or the health of tourists from other countries? For Thais working in the hospitality sector, your tuk-tuk drivers, tourism will become counterproductive, a false economic benefit. And what about you? Do you still want to visit Thailand for some revelry in Bangkok perhaps? Do you still want to go ahead with that trip to Phuket and Koh Phangan? We're doing our bit by warning you against it. The decision is ultimately yours. China is not testing its citizens before sending them abroad. Beijing has already dropped that ball. Instead of imposing safety measures, China is going after governments which are trying to keep their locals safe. China has blocked South Korean tourists and travelers, and the Japanese in a punitive response. Remember, I spoke about retaliation. Chinese missions in these countries are not issuing any visas. South Koreans constitute the biggest foreign diaspora in China. But if a South Korean wants to visit her family in Beijing, she can't. She can't even transit through China at this point or visit Beijing for business. Same with the Japanese. China has blocked visas for business, tourism, transit, and for personal reasons. So what did South Korea do? It adopted basic safety protocols. Seoul has restricted travel from China. It has allowed flights from Macau and Hong Kong to land only at one airport. All passengers arriving in South Korea are being asked to take an RT-PCR test, not just before travel, but also after landing. And caution is not sitting well with China. China has vowed to fight travel restrictions with reciprocal measures. And Beijing is calling these measures discriminatory. But that's China for you. If you like to spin the story, call an outbreak fake news. Call precaution politics. And safety measures discriminatory. The question is, what does the world need to do? Go the South Korea way? or roll out the red carpet like Thailand? I don't need to answer that. Countries must put their foot down and not bow down to China. You can't have infected Chinese travelers trotting about your towns and infecting people. China wants exactly that, and that's exactly why it has threatened countries who believe in safe health. Tell me one thing, what really is China's problem? What does it have a problem with? Why does it have a problem with its tourists being tested for the longest time? In fact, till very recently, China was testing its own people with an almost frightening intensity. If you wanted to board a bus in Beijing, you needed to get yourself tested first. If you wanted to enter a park, RT-PCR test again. Same with all public places. These were mass testing camps all around mainland China, and now the same China has turned an amazing somersault, even as the Wuhan infection has spiraled. What gives? Either China is trying to hide a variant, or it simply enjoys being a troublemaker. Worse still, here is a scary thought. Is China trying to reinfect the world? On the evidence, it is difficult to rule out that the assumption as of now. Some critics are even calling this Xi Jinping's biological warfare. South Korea and Japan are the first of China's victims in the Wuhan wave. Sure, both countries will feel the burn, especially their businesses. But their measures are working for them. Look at what the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency is saying. It says the number of Chinese travelers testing positive has gone down ever since Seoul adopted these new restrictions. Earlier, 31.4% of them were testing positive. Now, the number is 12.6%. It's a success story. The world must adopt this model too. Many countries, including India, have already introduced additional safety measures for those coming in from China. One hopes that they don't let their guards down too soon. And in the meanwhile, it's time for you to reconsider your trip to Thailand. If you can't cancel, at least postpone. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.